Well, it's certainly been a while since I've done a tag, but this is a good one. It was created by Shelley Swearingen, who tagged everybody except me. I don't know what happened there. Hope I haven't offended her. But no worries. Will Chambers saw the tag and he decided to tag me, so that's very kind of him. Although I do understand that I've been tagged in a few things recently and haven't really got around to doing many tags, but this is one where I can just talk, so that's nice. And it is the Behind the BookTube Tag, as I say, created by the wonderful Shelley Swearingen. All links and things will be down below, including, of course, a link to Will Chambers' channel, which is well worth you checking out. He has some very interesting and insightful videos. So, hello everybody, welcome to and welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis and me, Mark, and I hope so much you're doing very well. Let's jump right into this tag. I have no idea how long it's going to take. I'm expecting a delivery about 9. It's 8:30, so we'll see if I can get it done before the delivery driver calls me. So number one, what has surprised you the most about BookTube, both in a good way and a bad way? Well, I think obviously, a lot of people are going to have very similar answers perhaps to this particular prompt, because one of the things is going to be, I'm sure, community, and the sense of community, at least at first, is really overwhelming in a positive way. Now, of course, like anything, the longer you do it, the kind of small cracks perhaps begin to show, and you begin to realize that obviously nothing, of course, in this world is 100% perfect, but still, compared to any other online experience I've ever had, BookTube is the best when it comes to, in terms of community and getting to know people and make friends with people, like genuine friendships with people that you have never met except online, which I think is a wonderful thing. A bad way, well, I suppose the bad things ultimately are not that much of a surprise. It's like anything, there's always going to be clash of personalities or clash of styles and things like that. But none of it's, particularly important in the big scheme of things. I suppose financially, it can impact you in a bad way, in terms of the fact that you do find you have to kind of keep up with, purchasing books, which I would do, of course, anyway. So perhaps that's the wrong thing to say there, but. Generally speaking, I think my experience of BookTube is overwhelmingly positive. So, number 2, how do you balance reading and BookTube with the rest of your life? Well, reading is a massive part of my life. If we take out work from the equation, my life is really divided into two things, which are hanging out and spending time with Elvis, my dog, and reading. So. Reading is, as I say, a massive part of my life. So having to balance it with BookTube isn't that bad. The difficulty comes then with just when you bring work, of course, into the equation. Now, I really love my job, but it can be mentally exhausting. And then to have to kind of think about making videos and that kind of little bit of pressure to keep on top of, like, making videos, can be difficult to balance. Now, I have started some other projects outside BookTube where I make videos and podcasts as well, but because the necessity to make content for those channels is kind of much less demanding than BookTube, and of course. When you join, I find it very hard to say no to joining particular events and joining buddy reads and read-alongs. So that, again, can kind of upset the balance. Number 3, have you ever thought about starting a Patreon? Well, funny you should say that, because actually I have, and I did. So why not take this opportunity now to thank my wonderful patrons for their fantastic support. And I think we're building a nice little community over there. If you would like to join, the link's down below, and it would be wonderful to have you. You can have a week's free trial, see if it's your cup of tea, and if it isn't, it isn't. No worries. I'll still love you at the end of it. And number 4, have you made any mistakes on BookTube? Yeah, of course, I'm sure. I'm not somebody who, you may have noticed, spends a great deal of time kind of scripting or editing my videos. So there's kind of rough, you see I'm stumbling over my words now. There is perhaps a fairly rough and ready feel to it. Some might look at that as a mistake. I did receive a comment the other day, criticizing one of the videos I made on why you should join BookTube. And they went into complain about how perhaps I wasn't in any position to give advice given the amateur nature of the channel. But there's always going to be dissenting voices in anything, isn't there? So I just kind of initially replied, but then thought, no, I'll ignore it. But I can't think of any specific mistakes at the moment. Number 5, do you have any advice for new booktubers? Just keep at it, really, is my advice. Just keep at it and comment. In the initial stages, comment on other people's videos. Find new booktubers like yourself to kind of help you build up that initial community. When I came up in the class of the likes of Michael K. Vaughan, and Vin from Revenant Reads, and a few others, of course. But when you comment on people who are also new, you kind of find yourself initially growing together. You kind of grow that community together. Now, of course, they may go on to completely eclipse you in terms of so-called success, which I think we'll come to later. There's a prompt about that. Because as I say, Michael K. Vaughan and I believe started the same week, and he's far more successful in terms of at least subscriber counts and viewers than I am. But then that's richly deserved, and people like what they like. So good luck to him. Number 6, what are your thoughts on the YouTube algorithm? Honestly, I perhaps gave it some thoughts in the beginning, but now I just realize it's so random. There's a lot of luck in it. You release your video at a particular time, and you happen to have a particular word in it that fits in when people are searching for something, and whoosh, you take off. But the algorithm, I think, is beyond all real comprehension or any real ability to manipulate. Excuse me, I don't normally do this, but I'm extremely thirsty. Number 7A, how do you decide what videos to make? Well, sometimes I'm inspired to make videos by other booktubers. I'm obviously inspired to make videos by the things I read. And also I just kind of, maybe sit around thinking for a bit and think, oh yeah, that would make a good video. But yeah, generally, I suppose I'm inspired by the community as a whole, and by, of course, the content and books I read. And obviously, when you do things like these tags, they are a great way of keeping up that, making that content, keeping the content rolling, as it were. When you may be stuck for something to make. There are a plethora of tags out there you can, find and revive and use to kind of keep that process of content creation going if you find your own ideas dry up. 7B, are you ever overwhelmed with video ideas? Yes. I do have a little notebook where I just jot everything down. And despite that, I still haven't made probably half of the ideas that I've had, because perhaps I'm not so much overwhelmed in a negative way when it comes to the ideas that I have. It's just the content of those ideas, and sometimes they're probably just too time consuming to make, and eventually one day I will sit down and do them, but not just yet. Number 8, have you regretted posting a video? Yes, I have, a few times. I will say that, for example, I know people are going to dislike things. Sometimes I feel that, when I get like one dislike on lots of videos, and it's only one, it makes me think that there's just one person, that just doesn't like me and just dislikes me. And then that can kind of make me regret. I know it sounds really stupid, but I'm very sensitive in that way. I've got better. I've got much better, of course. But in the beginning, I was. But I have made some videos that I put out and then I subsequently took down because I thought that either I didn't put my point across well, or that maybe what I had to say was too emotional, especially when it comes to things like so-called censorship and that kind of thing, and my own position and ideas regarding that. So, after I've posted it, I will regret it. I've posted things before as well in the heat of the moment, after watching somebody and then wanting to respond, and then on reflection regretted it and removed it, generally before people had a chance to watch it, or many people had a chance to watch it. So, that's life. I've got better at that as well. I just kind of count to 10 and sleep on it maybe sometimes, and then the need or desire to make that particular video has passed. Number 9, are the number of views, subscribers meaningful to you? Yeah, of course they are. I mean, nobody wants to put time and effort into making something and have nobody watch it. So it feels lovely. I mean, yeah, of course, I would love to have, a couple of thousand subscribers. Who wouldn't? To know that that number of people are, taking you seriously and enjoying what you make. But then, of course, ultimately as well, I mean, just having one subscriber that isn't, of course, your mum or your next door neighbor or something like that, but some stranger that you don't know who has subscribed to you and who interacts and comments with you of your videos, that's also enough, isn't it, really? I mean, to think that there's one person in this world who actually cares what you have to say is nice. But yeah, I mean, I think sometimes booktubers are being disingenuous when they say it doesn't matter. Because, of course, everybody likes it. Nobody's going to turn away a good amount of subscribers. Now, people might not actively try to play the game, and I can understand that, but I'm sure nobody's going to be disappointed when they see their subscriber count or viewing figures go up. So I think it's meaningful to a lot of people, and that fits in nicely, of course, with Shelley's next prompt there. Are the number of views or subscribers a measurement of success? Yes and no. I think it's very hard to measure success, so this is kind of one tangible way in which we can do it. As you say, oh goodness, look at them, they've got 15, he's got 15,000 subscribers and she's got 106 subscribers. Now you're going to think the person who's got the 15,000 subscribers is more successful, but of course it all depends on the individual's goals that they set out when they start their channel. If they have a dream to if they start the channel with the idea of getting tens of thousands of subscribers and they get it, they're a success. If you start your channel with the goal of getting over 20 subscribers and you end up with 106, you're also a success. I think views are more a measurement of of at least in some ways, views are more of a measurement of success than perhaps subscribers, because obviously if more people are watching your videos, that's good. I mean, there are plenty of people with thousands of subscribers who have very low viewing figures, and that's probably got to hurt a bit more, I would say. If you've got 5,000 subscribers and you only average 100-200 views a video, that's probably going to hurt a little bit, isn't it? Maybe. But I don't know, because I'm not in that position. Do I regard myself as a success? I think in terms of what I set out to do, which was just, I set my goal at reaching 1,000, subscribers to get to the point where I could, if I want, be monetized, because I had this grand idea of being able to monetize in order to pay for the hobby, as it were, right? So not to enrich myself, but in order to, buy a couple of extra books a month. And it has worked out to some degree like that, but then to help improve things in that respect as well, I moved over to trying out something like Patreon, which, it's small, but it's a nice community, which you should join. But yeah, anyway, I'm digressing a little bit there. So I don't know. It all depends on the individual's goals when they start their channel. Number 10, are you disappointed by the growth of your channel? Sometimes, maybe. Sometimes. I think I do obviously wonder and worry about things that, of course, are beyond my control. And I do often wonder as well what I might be doing wrong. And it is something you question as to that you might be doing wrong. When, of course, again, it is not necessarily the case that you're doing something wrong, but it's down to the luck of the algorithm. I mean, there are certainly people who started, as I say, the same time as me, and people who started after than me, who have far eclipsed me. And then, of course, I do have to question myself, what is it about them that's better than me? And, of course, there could be a number of reasons. But then, of course, there are other people who I think to myself, well, surely I watch some of these people and I hate to be horrible, but I'm like, oh my goodness, how is this possible? Look at the number of subscribers there. Yet I can barely, watch 2 minutes of this person speaking and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. But I'm obviously not rude enough to go on and say that or comment that. But of course, internally, I'm thinking that. I mean, why on earth has this person got so many more subscribers than me? Are they that much better than me? And of course, my own pride says, no, of course they're not, Mark. You're much better than them. Obviously, people just don't have the correct taste, right? I'm laughing, but there is an element, of course, of truth in that, at least from my own point of view. I feel like sometimes I do put a lot of effort in or I did, maybe not as much now, into organizing events, starting events, this kind of thing, making tags. And then I felt like perhaps the reward, as it were, i.e. the channel growth, wasn't necessarily reciprocated. But then I started to think, well, you should be happy with the people you've got, because I feel that my subscribers are generally really wonderful. Of course they are. But also, I think, very loyal. I mean, I have a lot of interactions. For my channel size, I have quite a lot of views and I have a lot of interactions with people. And that's precious. So, the problem is, if I'm struggling to find the time to maintain the status quo, then perhaps channel growth isn't going to be a positive thing. Because I think if you scale the heights of like someone like a Criminoli in a fairly short amount of time, where he's got now, I don't know, over 25,000 subscribers. He's got to the point where it's kind of a part-time job, but the financial benefit of doing that isn't worth it. So it's not like to the point where, he's one of these people who can YouTube full-time, and he has probably a full-time job. And yet he has to kind of, to maintain the sense of community, he has to respond to like pretty much all the comments and look through the comments. And of course, that's going to become more and more difficult as time goes on. And I know I would struggle to do that. So perhaps I should just be happy and satisfied with my lot. And I am. Number 11, have you ever thought about quitting BookTube? Yes, all the time. But the thing is, I'm never going to quit reading. And the reason why I started the channel, if you go back to the BookTube newbie tag, is not having people to talk about books with. So by doing that, it would be foolish. And plus, why would I quit and let down the people who have, put in the time and effort of watching me and commenting and interacting with me? I wouldn't want to do that. I certainly wouldn't want to erase my channel. I may cut down on the amount of content I make and this kind of thing, but I'll never disappear. I'll always keep people informed as to what's going on, and I may have to take a hiatus here and there. But I think I wouldn't quit because I just, as I say, I mean, my reason for making BookTube will always be there, pretty much. I don't see it as I move to a small mountain village in the future. Number of people I've got to talk about books with has decreased from, in real life, well, I don't know if you can't really decrease from zero, but the reason's still going to be there for the reason's still going to be there for why I started the BookTube channel. So I don't see myself quitting. Number 12A, what are the most touching comments? To be honest, I think any comment that's positive and appreciates the effort you put in, and when they say, of course, nice things about the way you speak, or the way you present things, or the opinions you have, they're going to be wonderful and touching. 12B, what are the most negative comments? Negative comments, of course, are going to be anything to do with personal appearance, things that you might not have control really over, like the standard of your sound quality or your video quality, because you might be under financial constraints and restraints when it comes to those particular things. So it does seem a bit pointless. If you don't like, I do often maintain, if you don't like something, then it's better just to say nothing. In this instance, it's not the same, of course, if you go to a restaurant and you don't like your food. It's better to complain. But if you're going to criticize, do it in a nice way. Don't be nasty, because people are putting themselves out there, and you don't have to watch them. So to me, in this instance, it's just better to move on to the next video than to say anything negative and unkind. Number 13, final prompt there. With regards to BookTube, where do you see yourself in 5 years? No idea. I like to think I'll still be here. If BookTube's still here, I'll still be here making BookTube videos in 5 years. Though I do feel that it will be somehow reduced. At least in the next year or so, as the house is built, I have to concentrate more on things like that, and perhaps some of the other projects I've got going on, because I do need to, at least during the course of the next year, kind of raise a bit of extra cash to help with the construction of my house, and little things like the Patreon and whatever helps with that, and it means that I probably will make more content for that, if you see what I mean, maybe, than I will for this. But I'll never, I don't like to think that I'll ever give this up completely. So, for example, I might make, 3 videos a month on Patreon and 1 video a month for BookTube. But we'll see, because again, I still have to appreciate the wonderful people who have just subscribed to me and supported me, through YouTube anyway. And I certainly do. It's been a wonderful journey, wonderful experience, and I met some really wonderful people, and I still continue to meet some wonderful people. So it's great. I mean, going back to one of the questions there, one of the most touching comments is when people say that, I inspired them after procrastination to make a BookTube channel, or, when they say they've been watching me from the beginning but haven't commented before and this kind of thing, and they were inspired to do so. It's wonderful. Definitely make a BookTube channel if you've ever thought about it. Just jump in and do it. I'm not going to tag anyone, because, as I say, everyone's pretty much been tagged. Thanks, Will, for tagging me. Thank you, Shelley, for making the tag. And thank you for watching this video and supporting me over the last 2 years of this BookTube journey. And here's to many more. Do take care, everybody. Bye for now.